Hello students, welcome to the poem The Duck and the Kangaroo written by Edward Lear. This is a very humorous poem of a kind which is known as nonsense verse. Now, this poem elaborates the desire of a duck who is confined within the limits of the pond to go beyond and travel the world like the kangaroo does. The duck requests the kangaroo to take it along on a trip and find a solution to the problems which the kangaroo would face. Now, before we read the poem, let us learn something more about the poet Edward Lear. He was an English artist, illustrator, musician, author and poet, known mostly for his literary nonsense in poetry and prose, especially his limericks, a form that he popularized. So, he was born on the 12th of May 1812 and he died on 29 January 1888 in Italy. So, let us read the poem and find out more about what it says. Said the duck to the kangaroo, "Good gracious, how you hop over the fields and the water too, as if you would never stop. My life is a bore in this nasty pond, and I long to go out in the world beyond. I wish I could hop like you," said the duck to the kangaroo. "Please give me a ride on your back," said the duck to the kangaroo. "I would sit quite still and say nothing but quack the whole of the long day through, and we'd go to the Dee and the Jelly Bowlee over the land and over the sea. Please take me a ride, oh do," said the duck to the kangaroo. Said the kangaroo to the duck, "This requires some little reflection. Perhaps, on the whole, it might bring me luck, and there seems but one objection, which is, if you let me speak so bold, your feet are unpleasantly wet and cold, and would probably give me the rheumatiz," said the kangaroo. Said the duck, "As I sat on the rocks, I have thought over that completely, and I bought 4 pairs of worsted socks, which fit my web feet neatly, and to keep out the cold, I bought a cloak, and every day a cigar I'll smoke, all to follow my own dear true love of a kangaroo." Said the kangaroo, "I'm ready, all in the moonlight pale. But to balance me well, dear duck, sit steady and quiet at the end of my tail." So away they went with a hop and a bound, and they hopped the whole world 3 times round. And who so happy, oh who, as the duck and the kangaroo. So, it's a nonsense poem, but it's very, pleasing to the ears. So, I'll read it verse by verse and then we will listen to the explanation. Said the duck to the kangaroo, "Good gracious, how you hop over the fields and the water too, as if you never would stop. My life is a bore in this nasty pond, and I long to go out in the world beyond. I wish I could hop like you," said the duck to the kangaroo. Now the word nasty means very unpleasant or something that is bad. Now here the duck is awestruck to see the movement of the kangaroo. It expresses the desire that the kangaroo can hop continuously over fields and water bodies. The duck's life is very boring as it remains in the pond all the time. It wishes to see the world beyond the limits of the pond, and the duck wishes that it could hop also like the kangaroo. So now let's go to the second verse. "Please give me a ride on your back," said the duck to the kangaroo. "I would sit quite still and say nothing but quack the whole of the long day through, and we go to the Dee and the Jelly Bowlee over the land and over the sea. Please take me a ride, oh do," said the duck to the kangaroo. Now quack is the sound normally made by a duck. So in this verse, the duck requests the kangaroo to give it a ride on its back. It promised that it would sit quietly and would just quack all day. The duck lists the places that it would like to visit as Dee and Jelly Bowlee. In reality, there isn't any place like that, but this is, as you know, a nonsense verse. So, the duck adds that they would hop over the land and the sea. So, now we go to verse number 3. Said the kangaroo to the duck, "This requires some little reflection. Perhaps on the whole, it might bring me luck. And there seems but one objection, which is, if you let me speak so bold, your feet are unpleasantly wet and cold, and would probably give me the rheumatiz," said the kangaroo. Now, the meaning of the word reflection is to think, to ponder over something. And rheumatiz refers to the disease which is known as rheumatism, where you have very stiff joints. Yes, and stiff bones, like your joints in the body pain a lot. So in this verse, the kangaroo replies that it has to think this proposal over. The idea could be very good for him, but he has one objection. He says that the duck's wet and cold feet could give him all pains and aches, okay? So now let us go to verse number 4. Said the duck, "As I sat on the rocks, I have thought over that completely, and I bought 4 pairs of worsted socks, which fit my web feet neatly, and to keep out the cold, I bought a cloak, and every day a cigar I'll smoke, all to follow my own dear true love of a kangaroo." Now, cloak is a loose outer garment like a shrug that is worn. So the duck says that as it sat on the rocks during the daytime, it thought over what the kangaroo had said. And so, in order to avoid that problem of cold, wet feet on the kangaroo's back, the duck had gone and bought 4 pairs of worsted socks, which fitted its web-shaped feet very well indeed. In order to stay warm, it would wear a shrug and also smoke a cigar every day. So, the duck would do all this to protect the kangaroo, as it was very fond of it. Now finally, let us go to verse 5. Said the kangaroo, "I'm ready, all in the moonlight pale. But to balance me well, dear duck, sit steady and quite at the end of my tail." So away they went with a hop and a bound, and they hopped the whole world 3 times round. And who so happy, oh who, as the duck and the kangaroo. So here we can see that finally the kangaroo was satisfied with the duck's response, and both of them got ready for the ride. At night, when the sky was filled with the pale light of the moon, they started their trip with a hop, and the kangaroo asked the duck to hold its tail firmly, and they traveled round the world 3 times over, not once, not twice, but 3 times. So this was a very successful trip. That is the reason why they repeat it. Both of them enjoyed each other's company. Now let us look at the literary devices of the poem. Let us go back to verse number 1. Now, the last word in the first line is kangaroo, and then the next word is hop. So, kangaroo becomes A and hop becomes B. Then, the word to rhymes with kangaroo. So, it is A, B, A, and then the word next line is stop. That rhymes with the second line hop. So, it becomes A, B, A, B. Then the next line pond does not rhyme with any of the words earlier. So, it becomes C. Pond and beyond are rhyming words. So it becomes A, B, A, B, C, C, and then it becomes, the next 2 are U and kangaroo, again which rhymes with kangaroo. So U and kangaroo are again A, A. So the rhyme scheme of the first stanza is A, B, A, B, C, C, A, A. Then let's go to the second stanza. The second stanza, the rhyme scheme, let us look at the first word, back. And then second, kangaroo does not rhyme with back, so it becomes A, B. Then back and quack rhyme, so it becomes A, B, A. Then the next one rhymes with, kangaroo rhymes with through, so it becomes A, B, A, B. Then the next is Lee and C, so then it becomes C and C. Okay, since it is not rhyming with A or B. And then the last 2 words are do and kangaroo, that again rhymes with B. So it becomes A, B, A, B, C, C, B, B. So let's go to stanza 3. Now in stanza 3 we have duck and luck and reflection and objection. So here duck becomes A, reflection is B, and luck is again rhyming with A. So we have A, B, A, B. Then bold and cold rhyme, so it becomes C, C, and the next two, roo and kangaroo, is again D, D. So we have A, B, A, B. So all the three verses, 3, 4 and 5, if you will go through the words, you will find that the rhyme scheme is A, B, C, C, D, D. So that is the rhyme scheme of the poem. Now let us go and look through the poem. We have a lot of instances of alliteration. Like we have in the second line, good gracious. So there's a repetition of g, g. Then how you hop. So again there's a repetition of the consonant H. That is how you hop. So that is also alliteration. Then sit quite still. That is in sit quite still is in second verse, the third line. So that is a repetition of sir, sir. Sit still and say. And then we have but to balance. That is in the last. But to balance is again in the third line. So burr, burr, and then dear duck again after that. So again it's a repetition of der, der. Then whole world, whole world. So that is again a repetition of were and were. So all these are instances of alliteration. Then we have when the same word is used at the start of two or more consecutive lines, then we have anaphora. Then, and to keep out the cold, when it talks about and to keep out the cold, I've bought a cloak and every day a cigar I'll smoke. And to keep out the cold, here in this verse number 4, and to keep out the cold and every day a cigar I'll smoke. So the repetition of and is an example of anaphora. And then again, and they hopped, the last verse, and they hopped the whole world 3 times round, and who so happy. So and is repeated, so it is an example of anaphora. Then there's also the use of a musical rhyming sentence throughout the poem. Said the duck to the kangaroo, that has been repeated many times, several times. So in order to lay stress on the request that is made by the duck to the kangaroo. So this is called a refrain. When many times in songs or in poems you have one, like certain words being repeated again and again. So that's called a refrain. Then you also have what is known as enjambment. When the same sentences continues in 2 or more lines. So this is an example of enjambment. Like at one line there's no full stop or comma, but it continues. For example, and I bought 4 pairs. That is here. And I bought 4 pairs of worsted socks which fit my web feet neatly. That is an example of enjambment. Then all to follow. That is here in the 4th verse, the second last line. All to follow my own dear true love of a kangaroo. So now I'd just like to give you the summary in short. This poem tells us about a conversation, a talk between a duck and a kangaroo. The duck praises the kangaroo for its ability to hop and to visit places. The duck finds the pond very boring as it has to stay there always, forever. So the duck requests the kangaroo to allow it to sit on its back and go on a trip to visit places like the D and Jelly Bow Lee, crossing lands and seas. It promises that it would remain quiet and would only quack. The kangaroo replies that it will have to think over this proposal because the duck's cold and wet feet might give it body aches and pains, the disease of rheumatism. The duck says that it has made arrangements for the kangaroo's safety. It has bought 4 pairs of socks which fits its web-shaped feet perfectly. And in addition to that, it would also wear a cloak to save itself from the cold weather and would smoke 1 cigar a day. So the duck loves the kangaroo and wants to take precautions to make sure it is it does not fall sick. And so the kangaroo agrees to take the duck on a trip. It asks the duck to sit firmly on the end of its tail, to hold tight and not move. And so the duck sits on the kangaroo's tail on the back, and the kangaroo starts with a hop, and they take not one, not two, but 3 trips around the world, and both of them enjoy each other's company. Okay, children, I hope you've understood this poem. So, make sure you read it. There are no question answers given at the end of it. So just read this poem and try and understand what the poet is trying to say, and enjoy the nonsense verse. Thank you and have a nice day.